Hello YouTube, Damo here, another episode of the Rise of Nation with Dumbarton, and in today's episode it's going to be a massive recap to showcase how we won the league yet again and to go back to back here in the Premiership. With that being said, we're about to run the intro, but before I do, I wanted to bring up Next Gen really quickly, as this is the first time I've had guys in the Next Gen list. We got Tekawi, the Wonder Kid, who unfortunately is wanted by Manchester United and a whole heap of other clubs as well. In the list, we have got Damien Starrich. Also in the list at right back, we've got Carlos Xavieri, who has been playing DM for me, and the Van at centre back is in there as well. So great to see a lot of talent in there. In this episode, as I said, we'll be recapping how we won the Premiership, as we've virtually basically already won it. And I have been playing a little bit of a new system, and that's something that we're going to look at as well. See you guys after the intro. That's right, YouTube. We are champions. We just beat St. Johnstone 3-1. We're champions before the championship phase comes into play, or the champions phase when the league splits. That's correct. Took me by surprise this as well. I'm in the middle of eating dinner. Didn't realise we were that dominant. Yeah, we are champions. We didn't get to see the trophy list last time. This time you definitely do, as the boys are going ballistic there. And we're definitely going to recap all the results, etc. as well, which is great too. I'm just going to show you how far ahead we actually are in this episode, and hence why I showed you guys Next Gen, etc. Yeah, there you go. Have a look. 32 games played. Rangers also on 32 games. We're 21 points clear. We are playing a new system, as I mentioned too previously, but new system, the possession-based 4-4-2 system, or the 4-2-4 super vertical heavy metal system that we're currently playing, which I'll explain a little bit more towards the end of the episode about the system, has really taken full effect. I think we've got a team that is starting to become very, very dominant for Scotland, yet we got knocked out in the quarterfinal of the Viaplay Cup, and we got knocked out in the first round that we entered in the Scottish Cup. So I would imagine we're going to win the Cup trophies at some point, but apparently we're not allowed to do that at the moment. I'm sure there will be doubles and trebles on the way. We have one more game of the normal league season, and we're already champions. We'll be recapping all the results in just a second. You, yes, you, follow me on Twitch. You watch all my content live, and of course all the VODs for all your viewing needs. The Twitch is the place to go, and for funny clips like this.
Can you fucking shut up?
Pietro Pellegrini is a freak, Mum.
Honestly.
Pietro Pellegrini is a freak. Here we are, YouTube. It's 38 games played and 94 points, and it is Dumbarton winning the league yet again, quite comfortably by 20 points from Rangers. We actually only improved on 4 points from last season, if we have a look at that. But as you can see, 90 points has been kind of the mark of the teams that have been dominating. I do think we left a couple of games out there that we should have won, though. You know, we lost to Celtic. We lost to... we had a few draws that we should never have drawn, like Dundee. We drew to who got relegated, and we're going to speak about Dundee in a second, because I want to discuss some transfer plans right at the end of the video. But let's go in and recap and go through some of these games here. You might notice this 4-2-4 wide as well. I did trial it a little bit, but I'm going to show you what the system was and why I did this too. Sometimes I think it's important to try things when things are going well, and I'll give you my recommendations when you should do that in your save. But yeah, look, after getting knocked out by OJ Nice, this is the run of form home. We only lost one game, and that was to Rangers. We lost 3-2 away from home at the Ibrox. That happens. Fairly even game. We were 3-1 down and then scored in the 91st minute from a corner. So one of those games you're just like, it happens. The possession-based 4-4-2, I do think, is our best system, but it still has games like this where you don't dominate the ball because the opposition is also very good, where the attacking 4-4-2, probably in Scotland, and this is why we built the defensive, or the possession-based 4-4-2, is in Scotland, the attacking 4-4-2 with the ball, without the ball, is just going to dominate, right? Because our players are better. and the system will dominate, the physicality will dominate, etc. When we're in Europe and we saw it against the PSVs and everything that we played in Europe, we need that possession base like we did with Atletico so we can have more of the ball so our players can get a chance to dominate the game. And because of that, you do sometimes get games where the possession base will just come up against a team that is just better than you on the day, and then you just got to wear it, and that's kind of what happened here. I did switch into the attacking 4-4-2 second half after being 1-0 down and then 2-1 down, and we conceded a pen, but we looked much better, and I'm going to explain what I'm going to think about doing tactically next season at the end of the video as well. Outside of that, most notable, we did beat Celtic in the run-in 3-1 as well, which is fantastic. Mr. Sotomayor scoring a hat-trick in this game, and well, boys, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, he's had a pretty good first year at the club. 2.3 million, 18 goals, 31 appearances, 25 goals in all competition. Hasn't really developed. To be fair, he came in and it was one of those young players that apparently have no development. This year's game's a little bit weird when it comes to development, I feel like players that are 20 should be developing no matter what. But yeah, look, still looks very good. Still got great technique off the ball, flair, finishing in first touch. Very, very, very good footballer. And he looked fantastic as well. If we go through the whole results here, as you can see, Kilmarnock 2-2. We then had this 4-2-4, which I'm going to show you here very quickly. Aberdeen 3-0, Celtic 3-1. 4-4 against Hibs was a crazy game as well. Just one of those games that you just got to sit back and enjoy. We led, we went ahead, we went behind. And yeah, one of those. We played in the possession-based system in this one, and sometimes this happens. I'm glad his name's up here. Omar El Sayed has developed into a monster so far. Have a look at him. Determination is key on young players. Physically, just a monster. And as you can see, his technicals are coming along quite nicely. Already got 15 in passing technique, flair, determination, agility, acceleration, natural fitness and pace. And there's probably likelihood that his dribbling is going to get there very shortly, and his work rate at some point will get there too. That means he's just going to be a super nippy, very quick winger, and very, very good as an Egyptian that's got a good left foot too. I think that this is a guy that we can keep around for a very long time, and has had a pretty decent time too. 2 goals, 2 assists isn't major, but I'm actually starting to come to think that our wingers in the 4-4-2 don't do as much as I think they should. I think Alfie Stewart was the outlier because he was just so good for the division that we were in many, many moons ago. But yeah, Kilmarnock, Aberdeen we actually had to come back against on the final day. We played pretty dog on this day. And then out of nowhere, switching to the attacking 4-4-2 and it went ballistic, and we were lucky enough to win that one there. In terms of the data hub, I know people like looking at the data hub here. 18 goals over. We were 20 goals over last year. 5 goals under XGA, which I think is really, really strong, and I think it's down to the 4-4-2 possession based, and 16 points over our expected points is very, very good. As you can see here, Celtic finishing second, probably deserved to be third, probably deserved to be second. Kilmarnock have been developing into this 5 at the back system, and I think this is the hardest team to play against. Their 5 at the back looks that good that I'm actually tempted to look at 5 at the back for myself if the 4-4-2 seems to fail again in Europe, and move into a possession-based 5 at the back moving forward. But yeah, they've looked pretty good. Now, let's talk about tactics and what we've done. So first things first, I think from what I've seen of the 4-4-2, this is going to be the main system moving forward in the possession-based, which does focus on us keeping the ball inverted wing backs. And this is the system I'm going to build in, right? And we'll discuss players that need to be here and players that aren't here, etc. in just a second. I'm going to pick what is perceived to be my best 11, right? I will say, I think there is a lot of time for us to be on the attacking 4-4-2. And Polly, I'm just in the middle of a YouTube video. I'll talk to you in just a second. We are live on stream, of course. With that being said, I think there's a lot of time for this. And when I think the attacking system needs to be used is games that we start okay in, but we don't seem to be dominating in possession, or it's one of those games that there's not a lot of chances being created. I think this is a very good time to switch into the attacking 4-4-2 and allow us to go on the front foot, have a little bit less possession, but a little bit more, directness in our play to go and break down oppositions. I think what that also means is that we could move this system into balance and also start on it, but I'm going to actually start a lot more in the possession-based system to begin, and if it's dominating, don't change. If it is dominating, play the other one. Now, I don't have a third system loaded, although I do, I have the Dumbarton system, but we did try out this system, and I will say, I recommend when to do this sort of stuff, when you guys are doing well when you're safe, and we're basically run the league by now. I went in, and it's important to know what people that build tactics for like FM base and FM scout etc. do. So I decided I'm going to give myself 5 to 6 games of what their top tactic is, which is a 4-2-4, which does fit the team. So this is a guy that I think for some FM base that has a 4-2-4 that's doing very well on the match engine in their tactic testing. And I just wanted to see what they think works for them and what I can maybe look at and what I could maybe do. So as you can see here, they go much higher tempo, shorter passing, run at defense, be more disciplined, and a few other things. I think that this is then a very good spot for us to maybe look at morphing the 4-4-2 to have a couple of that. And I think the first thing I would say is maybe turning underlap left and right on, because we play with inverted wing backs, could be something that we do. I personally don't like running at defence, but we have scored some good goals in that. But the big drawback of actually using a system like this is because it's so attacking. I found a lot of the times that when we did dominate in Scotland, we would concede 2 or 3 goals. Or we would, the match engine, the goals that you would score are very clunky. And I guess it's, doing that, it's sort of trying to dominate what the match engine's failing at. It's important to realise that for your own tactics, and I recommend, like, if you're with Brighton, for instance, and you're in 5th and the board's loving you, and you know that you can't finish any higher than 5th, and you won't finish any lower than 6th, it's probably a good time to maybe try something towards the end of the season. Same way if you're in a save, like a Rattles Nation like myself, and you're winning the league every year, important just to change it up and see if you can find a new idea to make yourself better for Europe. And that's what we did here, and I thought it's important to explain. We scored some nice goals, but it's not a system that I am planning on using. I do think with this 4-4-2, maybe turning in underlap right and left through pre-season is something that we're definitely going to do. I might turn on run at defence because we do have some naturally quick players that can dribble, like Omar that I just showed you, like Rojas, like Fabio De Franco, who has developed into an absolute crazy footballer. I think that is something that we could maybe look at doing. By the way, he scored 27 and 36. What an absolute freak. I think that's something that we can look at doing moving forward as well here. Lucky last, we need to talk about transfers and players. But my mum's just come home, so I'm going to do that in just a second. For you guys, it's just going to fade out. For everyone on stream, give me 2 minutes. You, yes, you. Follow me on Twitch. You watch all my content live and, of course, all the VODs for all your viewing needs. The Twitch is the place to go, and for funny clips like this.
Can you fucking shut up?
Pietro Pellegrini
just
is a
shut
freak, Mum.
Honestly.
Pietro Pellegrini is a freak. So let's talk about players and transfers. This is what I perceive as the first team 11. I think it's not bad. I will say that I actually think Omar will begin to be the first choice winger once he learns to play naturally on the right. And look, I think we've got some really good footballers in this team. Unfortunately, are we going to keep all of them? Definitely not. The van is wanted by a Saudi club. I will say he does not have a release fee, so I'm going to hold him for ransom. No, he has a 16.75 mil release fee. That is something that I'm going to have to try and fix in just a second. Isra, unfortunately, is wanted by a whole heap of Premier League and Man United, AC Milan, just Leipzig. It's going to be very, very, very unlikely we're going to keep hold of what's been our best centre-back. The whole point of buying him for 1.1 million was to sell him on for profit. So to get 17, make 16 mil, it's not the worst, and it's something that I'm pretty happy with. But that straight over means that we could be without 2 first-choice centre-backs, definitely at least 1, and teams are going to have to change. Secondly, inverted wing-backs is something that we're probably going to need to actually invest in. Now, I will say, and Sergio's probably not the greatest person to highlight this with, I think when it comes to inverted wing-backs, they need to be a very good defensive midfielder that can convert into playing fullback. That's what I believe in. So if we can find some DMs that are young, that we can train to play inverted on the other side, that's pretty good as well. The reason I'm doing it with Sergio is to make him a very good rotation player that can play middle of the park and play inverted on the left, inverted on the right, and we can just use him because Sergio has got 5-star potential. As you can see, he actually plays it very well mentally and decent physically, but you need marking ability to play fullback. So that's something that we need to look at as well. And then you're looking at the rest of the team and you're pretty happy. Rojas has developed into this pretty nutty winger that is developing quite nicely and is looking very, very well-rounded. You got Mariba, who is at 24 million. I would accept the bid for straight away right now. You got Foley, who I think is wanted at the moment here by Wolves. And it's only for clubs that are in a continental the thing, but because we're in Europe, that's now null and void, so I'm going to hold him to ransom. So those players might be here and might not. The one thing that is a problem for us is if you go here to make border request, we cannot improve youth intake at the moment. Now, there is a bug, apparently according to the SI forums, that after trying to get the board to say yes to youth intake and they say no a few times, the option goes away and then the game doesn't bring it back. Unfortunately, it seems like this game save has this bug, which is annoying because I'm literally about to increase my training facilities again to excellent, superb, and my youth facilities still are adequate. We can't get a good youth intake. So with that being said, we need to do a couple of things. We need to keep signing people that are younger than 18 years of age to get them homegrown to play in the Champions League, which makes us very much youth only, gold only sort of challenge, which is okay. But what it also means, it's hard for us to find Scottish homegrown talent, and that's what makes this save difficult, because I have to go and try and poach the best homegrown talents from around the divisions. As you can tell from this team, there's not much Scottish talent. Now, I have made a mistake, and I will outline this mistake. Patrick Carling, because he was Scottish, I thought I would bring in, but he's homegrown at Liverpool, so he's not homegrown in Scotland. Same with Fraser Kennedy at Sunderland. Was like, decently well-rounded. Both of these guys will go in the reserves and probably do nothing. Might be able to flip them on for some money. To be fair to Patrick Carling, if he hits his potential, he's a very good premiership player and he's very usable. Dennis is one that is a mistake, but I'm happy we've made it. He is very good. He has got very good physicals. I think he would be a great backup winger, and he's Scottish, which is nice, but is not homegrown in Scotland, which is unfortunate. What I will say is that it allows me to probably sell someone like a Lynch for 10 to 15 million because this guy's coming in and he'll be sitting on the bench. He might get upset that he's not playing every week, but we'll make do. These guys are picked up on a free. So that means we have to actually look for players that are Scottish and homegrown. And straight away, I'm going to tell you straight out that Robert Leary, as much as he's 2.5 star, has been one of Dundee's best players and does have that leading premiership and has been scoring goals in the premiership. And I think in a 4-4-2 system, as an advanced forward, this guy would be dynamite off the bench because he's quick and he's got finishing ability. And they've also got a guy called Alan Grangier, who's wanted at the moment by Bristol, Aberdeen and Rangers for 5.6 million. And yet again, that's why Dennis is a bit of a mistake. To bring a guy in like Alan at 19 has got way more potential and definitely could be a fantastic winger for us and is homegrown in Scotland for the Champions League. But we've now got a little bit of a weird spot with the rest of the squad because their squad's getting a little bit heavy. There's a lot of players in here that we can sell. So guys like Lynch, guys like Amarin, even though he could become homegrown, these are guys we might end up selling so we can find more Scottish talent. And I think moving forward, that is going to be the big part until there is either a patch that is released to fix this or someone messages me back from SI about how to fix. It's not, I've never used the editor. I haven't since FM16 because it makes you ruin your save, I believe. But this is something that if they can't fix, but I can find someone that can use the editor, I might tell them, hey, here's the game save. Just go in, move my training facility, my youth facilities match my training facilities because I would have done them both at the same time. And it would have made feasible sense that we're a big enough club to start becoming the best youth facilities in Scotland. And then what we'll do there is then get the save game back and we can focus on actually growing our own youth talent. But it's getting very annoying to keep getting intakes like this, knowing that we actually have we are becoming one of the best clubs in Scotland and I can't improve youth, which is unfortunate. And Darryl is very good at what he does, or Darren. Anyway, that's the end of the episode. Give it a like. As always, if you want to catch up with the save, you can do that on, I think it's this side. And on that side is the link to the aggressive 4-4-2 we've been using. We will get to the possession-based 4-4-2, but I want to see more of the good goals that we can break down in that YouTube episode and with some better players, which we'll have next year. I'm very confident we'll win the league again. Hopefully we get a better draw in the Champions League and we can go deep in that competition for the money that we need. Actually, lastly, before I forget, the board are expanding the stadium by 7,300 seats. We were making profit all year last year. Because our stadium had 15,000 seats and our wages isn't that big. So we made good profit from there, or we stayed break even. We're now moving to a stadium with 6,000 seats, which is absolutely disgusting, which means we're going to lose a lot of money this upcoming season. So making some sales might be definitely needed, or a deep run in the Champions League. It does mean when we come back, we're going to have 22,000 seats at the new Dumbarton Stadium, and that's probably going to be massive as well. Anyhow, now that's the end of the episode. You got video here, video here. Go check it both out. Catch you guys later, and bye.